field for, the boss to come in and play, put me in coach or center field, whatever the name of that song is, right?
Okay, you're probably a Mellencamp fan. I mean, we all are. But
he's all right. He's pretty good, man. I actually saw him live one time with, who's that sexy old man? This was like a huge MILF concert.
Donovan?
Oh, God. The guy that did the Eyes Wide Shut song.
The Eyes Wide Shut song. I never saw that.
Yeah.
Normally...
what is his name? They're like the modern-day Elvis guy.
I don't know who the modern-day Elvis is. I mean, Springsteen is Springsteen. Elvis is Elvis. I don't know who the modern-day Elvis was.
Oh, man. We're going to have to get back to this one, man. I can't believe it's escaping me right now.
Okay, but I mean, you look at, the renovations at Wrigley. The renovations at Fenway were not as, it was just like putting in extra bleachers over the Green Monster. Who cares? Do you think the renovations at Wrigley will be as pronounced? Will be more pronounced than the renovations at Fenway?
Absolutely. I mean, that's pretty much been the goal. Casino was on board for that. They worked with a specific architect that actually did what they did go through, and I think a lot of people, might not even know this, is that, they went through and basically rebuilt the structure of that ballpark to make sure that the framework, would last, even longer now, considering how old it was. But a lot of that was done during the off season, a lot of different support beams and things that went into place. And so, that's a lot of what the Cubs are looking to do. Obviously rebuilding the bleachers, but they're also going to expand onto and across the street on one of the sides of the ballpark. And so they're going to kind of create like a whole, even though they do call it Wrigleyville, it's going to be even more so Wrigleyville, with the whole, concept of Boston and what they've done there, kind of in mind.
Well, and they might put like a bridge across, Addison or.
You got it. That's part of the plan.
Yeah, I mean, you put a bridge across those. I mean, buses aren't going to be able to get across. What are those people going to do?
They can worry about it later. They're going to have plenty of revenue coming in and making their city beautiful. Plenty of different things that they're going to be able to do. I know they are going to work on putting in some different parking areas. So, I mean, overall, once it all is, said and done, hopefully by 2019, it's going to be a lot more convenient for people that live in this neighborhood, because right now, parking has always been an issue, obviously fan traffic, but, a lot of those people that move to Wrigleyville move there for, the idea of moving into Wrigleyville. They weren't just kind of randomly stuck in the area. That was part of the allure to the area. And so now it's even going to become more so, more intriguing, plenty more things going on, a lot more reasons for them not even to have to leave their own neighborhood if they want to, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a benefit for pretty much everybody.
I've been to that kind of neighborhood. Most of those people, maybe not the owners, but the people that live in that neighborhood would want to leave that neighborhood.
Why would you say that?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, I don't feel, when I've driven down there, granted, maybe it's because I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, but I've gotten yelled at when I've driven down there.
It's Chicago, man. That's what happens.
Well, I've gotten yelled at, from those people from Chicago when I get stuck in traffic or I go down there and I don't know what I'm doing because I've never been stuck, quote unquote, stuck in traffic before. I get yelled at, go back to effing Nebraska. What
the hell are you doing driving down the roads out there?
Well, I want to go
something like that.
I want to go to that damn Knicks Bulls game. What do you want me to do?
Take a train.
Well, I tried taking a cab. I tried taking the train. Okay, the cab, $88 if you want to buy a cheap hotel room. That requires you maybe getting murdered. What am I supposed to do in that situation?
Hey man, it's part of the allure to come to Chicago, man. It's a great thing, but I'm telling you, there's not a day where I'm on the road where I'm not saying to myself, this guy, where someone driving like a clown. I'm on the expressway every day. I pretty much I put, over 30-something thousand miles on my car a year. So I'm constantly on the roads, between driving the ball games and everything else, the work. Yeah, I'm involved in a lot of different things. So I've grown, relatively impatient of people that aren't, too sure of their or too confident of their driving.
Before we get back to the World Series, what is the bet as far as food goes? What is the best thing that you've had at a ballpark this year?
Right now, it's probably one of the more interesting things. Over at Comiskey, they have bacon on a stick now. It's I don't know. I'm not really all that amazed. It's a giant slab of bacon that they throw on the stick for you. It's pretty good, but I don't know if it's worth the whole $5. But my go-to, man, everybody loves hot dogs.
$5, sir.
Yeah, no, there's.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, bacon on a stick, man. No, actually, Comiskey's always been, I should say, U.S. Cellular's always had one of the top-ranked, ballparks in terms of food. One of them, I mean, obviously not bacon on a stick isn't really too much to brag about, but between the helmets full of nachos, the pierogies, they have sushi, all sorts of things. But my two favorite things, and the great thing, they sell them at the same booth. Rather than a hot dog, I'm a corn dog guy and a churro guy. I mean, those are my two things.
I'm not the nachos in a helmet, not really creative, and the sushi, kind of. I hate to, try to stay away from this word, but it's pretty gay to have at a ballpark. I mean, I'm not saying if you have it, you're gay. I'm just saying it's pretty. I'm not a fan of sushi at a ballpark. I'm just not a fan of it.
Man, there's a lot of people out there, right now that they're either vegetarian or vegan. A lot of people don't eat meat,
Well, I'm saying, okay. I'm not saying that it's. I'm not a fan of having sushi at a ballpark. I mean, I like having.
Some people gotta eat.
I agree.
Oh man, have you ever had sushi, Bob? I know they don't sell it at the Golden Corral, but maybe they do. Who knows?
Yeah, I've had sushi. I'm a big fan of sushi. I'm just saying, it's just not something that I'm hungry for at a ballpark. I want nachos. I want a good hot dog. I want a good something good. Something baseball oriented. Sushi is not baseball oriented.
There are a lot of Asian American and Asian ball players in baseball, my friend.
Well, I know that. Oh, okay, yeah, good point. All right.
See? Before
I get myself into some trouble.
Yeah, I think you already have, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm probably in some pretty big trouble here. World Series wise, if you're looking at the Royals, obviously defense and bullpen come into play. What is your take on the James Shields being considered big game James in the playoffs? ERA is over 5. Is there a bigger misconception of a player than James Shields right now?
Well, it always was, it seemed like he kind of built his reputation on being one of the guys where, in the regular season when they needed that big game, and that's kind of the way, it has seemed, because he only hasn't really been to the playoffs that many times, but, he is one of only 3 players that has previously been in the playoffs on their roster. I mean, when you look at, San Francisco, they have 9 guys that are left over from the 2010 World Series, and then, that's not including Matt Cain, and then they have 16 from the 2000 World Series. That's not including Matt Cain or Anil Pagan. Both of those guys are injured right now, but, it's, maybe his experience will, kind of help him a little bit now. I think a lot of it has kind of been, maybe the fatigue, over the wear of, the longer season. is kind of, maybe got them a little bit. So you kind of worry about the workload for guys like him. Same thing with Yordano Ventura. But, I don't know if maybe in the postseason, I don't know if I would maybe call him Big Game James. So you can kind of, put that knock on him. But, definitely he is the veteran of that ball club, and you would hope that this would be a spot where he would come in big.
Looking at the World Series, what is your prediction right now as far as the World Series goes?
Well, I'm going to have to say Giants in probably 6 games. The only thing I would have to say, I worry for Kansas City if they're not able to, win that first game, even though, they have, they worked great on the road this year. They're 47-34. They've ended up winning, 9 out of their last 11 games on the road. That's including the postseason. But I just worry, like I said, having that layover with as many younger guys as they have, being as anxious as they're going to be, if that's going to play, a big factor into this series. And I think, if they don't come out of the gates, strong in game 1, then that could be a problem. Kind of going forward. They are 13-19, at ballparks that are in the bottom 10 of, the highest home run parks. It's excluding their own. So they do have, a little bit of an advantage on their side, at least kind of being able to know how to win in a bigger ballpark. But if they're not able to get their hitting going, their bullpen is going to be there. I think their defense is going to be there, with the exception of maybe having some issues adjusting to AT&T Park. But, it's going to be tough. I do have to say it's probably going to be Giants in 6 just because their pitching is so strong. Knowing that their experience is there, they're confident, especially offensively, going into like the later innings. So even though, Kansas City might feel a little bit more confident, in the fact that, they're able to shorten up the ball game. But, they have a bunch of fireballers coming out of the bullpen. It's a 3-headed monster out there. But I think, just the experience that the Giants have is going to help them kind of, combat that. And so we'll see how it works out. But probably Giants in 6 is what I'm going to say.
When does the Royals' run end? Is it in game 1 or is it in game 2?
Is it what? I'm sorry, I missed that last part.
Is the Royals' run going to end in game 1 or game 2 of them being undefeated in the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say you put me on the spot here, but probably game 1. I think Kansas City's gonna be pretty amped up, and I think that might kind of play against them. So obviously their fans are gonna be really into it. They're gonna have that on their side. They have been able to to be pretty lucky, especially late ball games. When it comes to kind of finding that big hit, they've been great in extra innings. So, those are 2 things they have going for them. I just think that everybody might be a little bit jacked up for this first game. And if Ned Yost isn't able to kind of keep everybody level-headed, they might run into a brick wall here in game 1.
All right. Johnny Maloris, unfortunately, we've run out of time. Do you want to tell everybody where we can find you on Twitter, the internets, Instagram, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, you got it. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Maloris, Malioris. Also on Twitter at Cubs Clock, which is going to be the website I'm going to have coming out soon. So I have a lot of Cubs data updates coming out of there, kind of keeping everybody posted. Meanwhile, as the site's being built, you can also find me on Facebook at Johnny Maloris. And, feel free to find me anywhere you want. I'm always welcome to address anybody's questions.
Well, Johnny, I appreciate it. We will talk again soon. Assuming the World Series goes on longer than you expect. And we'll talk again soon, buddy. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Be good.
All right. Talk to you soon, buddy. And we will be back here on LateNightSportsRadio.com on the Bob Sullivan Show. We will be back with Bob's thoughts or Bob's demented thoughts or something like that. My last segment here on the Bob Sullivan Show.